Hi, so today we're going to go ahead and make the small matchboxes, 3 of them, to fit in the side of our box. And we put 3 of them right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the measurements to cut them first of all. Let's do the box first and then we'll do the cover. So the box is cut out of 1 piece of cardstock, and it's a 6 3/4 by 7 1/2. So I did my 7 1/2 this way, which left me enough to do, I believe it left me enough to do my cover then. Let me just check to make sure before I tell you. Yeah, so if you cut your 7 1/2 inches out of the 11 inch, and then cut your 6 3/4 out of what is left, then save these little end pieces. They will make the covers for those boxes. So let's go ahead and get those cut, and then we will score them. I have mine cut already, so go ahead and get yours cut. So once you're ready to score, I have the sizes here if you want to write them down. On the 6 3/4 side, so I just make sure that on my scoreboard I'm measuring 6 3/4 inches. And then on that side we are going to score at 3/8 of an inch, 1 3/8, 2 3/8, 4 3/8, 5 3/8, 6 3/8. Now I'm just going to let this sit here for those of you who don't have it. And I've already scored mine, but I'm going to go ahead and make my lines just a little bit deeper. So once you have the shorter side, then we're going to flip it to the 7 1/2 inch side up. Okay, and it's easier for me to work myself from the right to the left, so I'm going to start with my bigger number, but your numbers are on this side 3/8 of an inch, 1 3/8, 2 3/8, 5 1/8, 6 1/8, and 7 1/8. So for me, I start on the right hand side and work back. It's just easier to control, and I can keep things a little bit more square. So I'm going to do 7 1/8, 6 1/8, 5 1/8, 2 3/8, 2, 3, 1 3/8, and then 3/8. And you have to do that with all 3 pages that you have cut. So go ahead and get those scored, and then I will show you we have to cut them then. Okay, so if you're ready to cut them, I'm going to show you where we cut them. If you're using brown cardstock, it's usually easier if you go ahead and fold everything, and even black cardstock, go ahead and fold all of your score lines. It'll show you a little better where you're cutting. And sometimes on the brown, I will go ahead and smudge mine. It's not necessary. Once you've gotten them folded, you can kind of see where everything is. So I've gone ahead and cut one just to kind of show you. Now, if you have your long side up and your short sides on the side, it will make it just a little bit easier to cut. Let's go ahead and work on that. So we have the 3/8 of an inch on all sides, and the longest pieces are right in the middle, and it kind of looks like a cross. So what I basically want to do, if you look at this, I basically want to cut down to my square on my first side. So I'm going to mark that with my pencil. If you find it easier to use a colored pencil, go ahead. That's not going to work. It's too dark. I can see my black. So the big box, I'm doing it on the right-hand side of my big box down till I get to this box. And then I'm going to do it on the left-hand side also. So that gets cut. So I'm going to skip these lines because these lines I don't want cut, but I am going to mark this line and this line. Okay. Now, you can see those are the ones that we've gotten cut. I do want to have a tab, so I'm going to skip the 3/8, the next one, and I'm going to draw a line across that next one. So you can see that is going to be cut out as a tab. And I want to do that on all 4 corners. And basically my lines are going this way right now. So we've drawn these lines and across our tab. So the next ones we want to do are, we want to leave that tab. We don't want to cut that. So from the corner here, we want to cut here, cut here, cut here, and cut here. So I hope you can see that. So these are all getting cut out. These will all get cut out. These and these. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut in my score line. And so you can see we've basically taken that out. Now this is our tab, so I have cut from here down. And it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to cut this. And I want my tab to be opposite, so I'm going to cut so far we have these. And we will clean them up just a little bit later. So I am going to cut down to there, cut this out, cut this out, and then this. So I have a weird little stair step for all 3 of these. And then the last one, and again, you can see my cut lines are in the same place on all of these. Okay, so the next thing you can see I've done is I have softened all of my tabs, and what that means is I take my scissors and I cut just a very small triangle, and you can see it's very small. I start and I do it on all edges of my tabs. So you can see the difference. This one has been cut. So go ahead and do all of your tabs that way. Okay. So far it should look like this. This is the one we're working on. The next thing I want to do is when you look at your edges where you're going to flap them, I have also the 3/8 of an inch score. I have just taken a little triangle off of each of those on all 4 sides because we have 3/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. If you're working with brown, it's just a little bit easier to see. Okay, so there we have it. Now, before I start gluing, I'm going to turn it so that all my folds are coming up. And I'm going to push my tabs in. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure. Now, these tabs on this edge get glued to here, but I don't want to glue those yet. I want to check and make sure that all of these are going to fold in. If you find that you're binding, you can go ahead and take just a sliver off of these long pieces, and I'm actually going to do that on all of them because I have a feeling I didn't get it cut. I'm not too worried about these ones, but I am worried about my longer ones. Okay. So once I have all those slivers, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing. And I need my bone folder, my glue, and my pieces. So for me, it's just easier if I keep the longer edges running horizontally and my shorter edges running vertically. And I want to start with 2 of these first. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on both of these tabs for now. If it's easier for you to work with one, go ahead. I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to my longer side. And you can lay it down and burnish on the inside if you like. And then I'm going to take the other glued one and I'm going to attach it to the other. And I'm trying to make sure that these edges are pretty square. Okay. So I'm just pulling these back so you can see better. And if that helps you, go ahead and pull them back. So then I'm going to do the same thing on these glued sides. I'm going to put glue on both of them. And I'm just going to work with one at a time. I'm going to pull it up. Try and get it pretty square. Let the heat of my fingers do most of my work, and then go in and burnish. And then I'll do the same with the other side. I will try and get them pretty square. Let the heat of my hand do my work first, and then burnish. So basically what you have right now is this. It's a little box that's not finished. So because I've cut these sides here just a little bit shorter, I'm going to flip these ones in first. And the easiest way to do that is, first of all, I'm going to check. Yep, that goes in pretty well. Yep, that doesn't bind. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue on this entire free area. And as I push it in, that 3/8 of an inch flap will actually get glued on the bottom. Okay, and so I'm going to do it to the other one. And if you want to, go ahead and fold these out, because they do. They get glued to the bottom of your box. And when they get pushed in there, this gets glued to the side and this bottom gets glued to the bottom. Let's do the other small side first. And so then I'm going to go ahead and push it in. I'm going to burnish. And then I'm going to flip it on its bottom and burnish those very small 3/8 inches. And then we're going to do the same thing to these long ones. I put glue on all of it. And our last side. So there we have our little box. That's our match area. This is where we will put our seeds. If you have the Victoria's GardenBox seed, this is where they go. They go in here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make our wraparound. It's the strike plate that you would be striking your match on if this were a real matchbox. So we need to cut these. The first one we do, it's 7 1/4. So if you have that little piece that you cut off your 8 1/2 by 11, you should have a little piece left. Go ahead and cut your 7 1/4 long and 2 7/8 wide. So, yep. And then we are going to go ahead and score those, and we're going to score it on the long side up. We're going to score 1 inch, 3 1/8, 4 1/8, 6 1/4. And you'll do that on all 3 of them. You need 3 of these. Once you've done that, go ahead and fold all of your corners and burnish them so that they're laying down nicely. And as I'm folding them, I'm kind of making sure that they're square. So once you have them burnished, one of these little tags is just almost a little bit less than 1 inch. It's just enough that if you go like this, you can see there's just a little bit of an extra. So I'm going to put that one underneath. And the easiest way to glue this is to go ahead and fold it, have one tag the top, and then fold it, have tag, bottom, tag. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this part up and push this down and put glue on this. And I'm going to be a little bit easy because I don't want to get glue on any of the inside because then it won't open. So once you have glue on that, you can go ahead and press that down and just use your fingers for now. Pop it up and push it over to the other side. And now go ahead and burnish all that down with your bone folder. So what you actually have is you have the first box that we made should fit nice and snugly in there, just like a matchbox. So the next thing that I want to do is, and I'm doing one with you. You have 3 of these to make, and you can go back and watch this video over to show you how to do the other 2 if you need to watch it again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate the floor of this. I'm not going to decorate the sides. I'm just going to decorate the floor of my box. And then I am going to decorate the top and the 2 sides of my striker plates. So in order to do that, we've already done this before with boxes. I'm going to measure this. It's 2 inches by 2 and just about 3/4, not quite. So I have some very pretty paper. I want to use this paper. And my boards are acting up again, so let me kind of clean out any excess paper that I have. There we go. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and cut off that white. And if you're using scissors, that's great. You won't have this happen. I have Teflon scissors, and they're really actually nice. If your knife is starting to leave little fuzzies, I don't know if you can see mine, then I just take this little piece of sandpaper tool and I just rub them off my edges. You can rub a little harder on your white side. You don't want to rub too hard on this side because you'll actually take your print off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom. And I don't know why it likes to do that, but because I've just changed my blades again. Once more, I've changed my blades. And I really think it's this paper. So instead of using this, I'm going to go ahead and use scissors. Okay, so I want to make this, now we said this is 2 inches, so I want to make this about probably 1 7/8. Or even a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and mark, and if you're using a cut board, then just go right ahead. That's the easiest thing to do if you're using a cut and score board. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I did get a new chipboard. My husband bought me a new chipboard cutter. Oh, is that ever slick. It's RoboCut, I think is the name of it. It is so neat. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put it in there this way to make sure that it's going to fit this way. Yep. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark this. Actually, I'm going to measure it. And I want to do it at about 2.5. And again, if you're using a cut board, yay, that works really well. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And there are some of you who don't have cut and score boards. And you do just perfectly fine, don't you? With your paper crafts. Okay, again, I'm using Tim Holtz Ranger Black Soot. And I'm going to go ahead and smudge all of my edges. I'm going to put just a little bit more in my corners. And the way I do that is when I'm smudging, I keep my tool straight up and down, pretty much just to get the side Let me show you here. So you can see where I've smudged and where I haven't, it's white. But when I come to a corner, I will start to lower this side so that it lays down more ink in that corner, and then I will straighten it up again. So watch again. I'm straight up and down. As I get to my corner, I lay it over this way, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. So you can see that I've put just a little bit more ink in my corners. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this, and well, first I'm going to make sure it goes this way. Yep, perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this. So if you are making this for a garden box, I'm going to give you just a little hint when we do the outside of this matchbox. Some seeds have to be what we call scarified. And that means that you take the seed, pretend this is just a little seed, and you have to rub it against a piece of sandpaper to kind of break open that hard shell. And it's not all seeds, but there are some, they'll tell you if it has to be scarified. So what I am suggesting when we do the outside part of our box, now we are going to decorate the top, just the top. But when we go to decorate this, you can either use a pretty paper like we've done in here. You can do a pretty paper. What I'm suggesting, if you're making this for a garden box, go ahead and get yourself some nice light sandpaper and cut it to fit, just like you do matchboxes. You know how matchboxes have that couple sides that you can strike your match on and it'll light the phosphorus? Well, if you put a couple pieces of this, one on each side, then you have a place for your seeds where you can scarify them. You can take the seed, pretend this is just a seed, you can take it, rub it a couple times across the sandpaper, and then plant it. It'll bloom, it'll grow a little bit better. Just make sure that your seeds tell you they need to be scarified. So that's just a little tip for you. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this paper. I already have a garden box. I'm making this for something else. So I want to do about just a little under 2 7/8 I'm doing. So, and that's why I really like this ruler, OmniGrid ruler, because you can see through it, so I can line up exactly where I want to cut. So then I want to see how deep I want to make this. Okay, it's exactly an inch. Okay, if you have this, you have 3 different sizes of lines. You have 1/8, the 2/8 is just a little bit bigger, the 3/8 is back down to the small size of the 1/8. The 1/2 inch is bigger than all of them, and then it does it again, small, medium, small. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can show you. So when you look at these, when I go to mark my paper, I'm actually going to go down to the first height. That's 1/8 of an inch. And I will draw my line there, and then I will cut, and that will give me 1/8 of an inch off of this. So, because there is no 1/8 of an inch, as you can see this, there's 3/16 over here. The black line is 3/16. The next one is 1/4. The next one is 3/8, and then 1/2. And it's the same on the other side. We have 3/16, 1/4, 3/8, and then 1/2. So I need just 1/8, and the first small line is 1/8. So that's my other trick for the day. And I'm going to put this on white paper so that I can see it very well. So I'm going to cut that with my scissors. These Omni grids can be found at any quilt shop or any most craft shops will have them also. And I have absolutely loved this 6" by 1" ruler. I do have several of the other ones, the bigger ones. I have a 12 by 12. I have I think it's a 5 or a 6 by 24. And then I have 2 other sizes. I don't know what they are because I don't use them very much. So I've gone ahead and I have smudged. I'm going to put this on, and see, that just about fits perfectly. I don't know if you can see that. I have just about a little bit of black on both ends here from cutting my 7/8. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to lay that down. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this little piece of paper that I have. I am trying to use up, I think I've told some of you that I've bought this paper. It was a little bit, it's supposed to be the exact same paper that I buy all the time, but it came in 10 reams and it was quite a bit cheaper, so I just assume, and it says it's 176 grams, it's 65 pounds, and so I just assumed it was the same, and it's really causing my knife problems. So I'm trying to use it up so that I can buy some better paper. So you can see I have a little bit of black. Let's try this. I have a little bit of black on this side. And when I fold it this way, I have a little bit of black on that side. So that worked really well. I'm going to do that again, gang. So I'm going to try and make sure I get the first little bump. I'm going to draw this. And then I'm going to cut that. It's just a very little piece off. It's probably a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to smudge. And then I'm going to go ahead and check it. Oh, it's perfect. And I'm going to glue it down. So if you are using sandpaper for your seeds, it's the same. It's the same process. So I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to try and get it. Okay, so the only other thing we have to do is we have to do the top. And it's basically the same as cutting for the bottom. We measure the top, we take off 1/8 of an inch, so this will be 2 inches wide, and then it will be 2 3/4 deep. So I think I want to do a different paper on the top. No, I'm going to use this paper. Okay, so what did we say? 2 3/4. Two and 3/4. And I'm going to connect these. And if you have a cut and score board, just go ahead and use it. You don't have to. Okay, I am going to cut this. And yeah, that'll fit that way. And then I'm going to cut it, let's see, about 2 inches. Oops, let's do the other side. 2 inches. I'm going to make it just a little bit shy of 2 inches. this. I think I can kind of better on this side. And I'm going to check it first. Oh, that's just about perfect. Okay, I'm going to smudge it. Now, there are times that I will erase the pencil if I have any pencil marks, but since I'm using this black soot, it's going to cover up any pencil marks that might escape my eye. And just like that. Then we're going to glue this. Decide which end you want up. And the way I'm going to decide that is I know that I did glue. Yep, and there's my glue. So I want my glue at the bottom. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to put this on here. And I'm going to put it this way. So it's going directionally the same way. I'm burnishing it down really well, and then I'm going to put this inside. Now, if you're making this for little kids, you could put erasers or pencil sharpeners or any little thing that they will use for their crafting. And I am making this for a little girl to do that, and she's going to put pencils in one side, and we're going to put erasers and pencil sharpeners in these little doohickeys. Okay, so we're going to make 3 of those. You're going to make 3 of them. I'm asking you to go ahead and rewind this video so that you can watch the video again to do this. But there you go. We have 1 finished, and next time we're going to work on one of the journals that go in here. There are 2. There's a smaller one that goes in here, and then there's a larger one that goes in here. And again, this will get put in here to cover that journal. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed working with you today. I hope to see you again. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.